Okay, this document, along with the Texas TEKS that the students have to, all of their knowledge and all of the skill that they have to know regarding dance and your standards, that's what they make the exam from. So those are the two documents that you have to be most familiar with. So a deep dive in this document and understanding what they need to know at every level of dance. And so we'll also take a look at the TEKS. Okay, so this was for English language art. Have you looked at the TEKS at all?
Yes.
Excellent. So it's going to start in middle school. Right. And so knowing what particular, like knowing each grade level or year, what the goal is, what particular things do they need to know, what skills do they need to have, and then how best to instruct them. Like how can I help them if they're having difficulties in one of the areas? And so that you have the different areas: foundations, creative expression, which is long, creative, historical and cultural relevance, right? Critical evaluation and response. And if we take a look at your standards, and we'll look here, you'll see that here. So this one is about your knowledge of the technique and movement analysis. And so on the left-hand side, you have the knowledge or concepts that you have to know. Basic concepts with anatomy and physiology, basic concepts with biomechanics, right? And as to how they relate to dance, right?
Yes.
So everything on the left-hand side, you should, if you don't know, like if you don't know what polyrhythms is, look it up and write it on the little piece of paper. What is that? Syncopation?
Syncopation. Yes,
right.
it's like an odd beat.
Okay, like
music. Yes, it's kind of like it's in between against the
normal beats, right? Like during normal,
yes.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, in flamenco, you might have those a lot, right?
Exactly.
Okay, see, I don't know. I didn't know what that was. If I were studying for this, I would have to look that up, possibly look up a video of what it looks like so that okay, I know. And knowing everything on the left-hand side, very important. What's more important is on this right-hand side, not that it's more important, but for the purposes of the exam, yes. So this is everything you need to know. And this is what you need to be able to do in the classroom with your students. So more often than not, the correct answer on the exam, it is going to come from that right-hand column. It is going to be the dance teacher doing something from this right hand, utilizing the knowledge on the left to do something on the right. Right. So going through and understanding within each of the standards, like I would go through this as a reading teacher. The way I teach my students to study is to chunk the text, to make sure to go through and rewrite things in their own words, not all of it, to look up things that possibly you need clarification, or like, you know how you did with syncopation right now, you just told me what it was. You know that. I know you know that. That is enough knowledge for you as far as, so like, as you go through these documents, be your own judge of like, okay, I need to investigate a little bit further in this concept, because they do sometimes get pretty specific. I know that on the PE exam, there was a picture and the student was like this, running, right? It was just like a drawing of a student running. And it said like, take a look, the student is having difficulty, blah, blah, blah. What critique or feedback would you give to this student to correct their form? You know what I mean? So I know dance is going to give you some like that, you know, where they say, how would you give feedback in order to be corrective in instruction?
Right.
So design lessons that integrate movement elements and skills in ways that are appropriate for students. Really important as far as like the pedagogy side of it. to make sure that you are building the kids' vocabulary with those dance terms, like if you're going to do a dance and it has syncopation in there, let's define syncopation, because we're going to do it all up in here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Throw
Yeah.
it in between the beats and get them to be utilizing orally, increasing their oral language proficiency with their with their dance concepts, with all of the concepts, the cultural concepts, the different types of things. You guys have a lot, just like a lot of material in order to be able to bolster their vocabulary. So in the beginning of whatever instruction or lesson, give them a new vocabulary word or a reviewing vocabulary, but not just in the, here's the word and definition, here's the word, the definition, this is me putting it in my own, this is a video of it being shown or illustrated, or this is a picture, and so that the students build their word banks. Very, very important. Provide students with opportunities to enhance their ability to express ideas and emotions through dance. So very important in all of the content areas, math, science, social studies, theater, dance, to allow students the ability to take ownership of their education, right? And to express their ideas and their emotions in writing, in their choices in reading, and in their ability to dance. So giving them agency and opportunity in order to express themselves, very important in every single class. Help students use self-evaluation and correction to refine technique. This is something that we try to get students to do in every class. Being able to measure your own knowledge, to measure your own work, to measure your own performance. It's so important and critical to growth, because if you don't ever look at yourself and measure it, then you're not going to try to get better. Or if you're doing it incorrectly and you're measuring yourself and you're like, man, I'm really great, then you're probably not going to work on yourself and you're also not going to grow.
True.
So,
yes.
Yeah. So to accurately help the students reflect on the different skills themselves, not just you saying, yeah, you did that good, that was awesome, this was beautiful, but have them practice reflecting using whatever rubric, whatever it is that you are using to assess them. Very important. Again, with expressiveness, confidence, we're trying to get them to be more of themselves, and dance is a great way to bolster their confidence. Right. And so standard 2 is mostly about the reality that dance is in fact physical, it's you know what I mean? It's a physical activity, right? Yes. You are doing an aerobic exercise and you are literally conditioning. It's all of it's there. And so understanding that and being able to appropriately define, apply, and teach the different ideas that are underneath this profession. So Pilates, what is this?
Yeah. Idokinesis. Idokinesis. You cut me off guard right now.
Don't even worry about it. But
okay. But yes, I've seen that, because I mean, I went through it in college. So I read it last time, but right now. Sorry.
No. Yes, I know. I know
this one.
Absolutely. But for the purposes of this exam, we would go look up what is it? Idokinesis?
Sí,
9 lines of movement. Okay. Idokinesis. Let's look at the careers in Pilates. Yes. It's the process of visualizing or imagining movement to train the nervous. And this is like muscle memory. Yeah. Kind of like muscle memory a little bit.
Yes.
Right. Yes. And so like not dance, but like jujitsu is kind of a dance, but on the floor. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like moving or whatever.
It is. Martial arts are.
Absolutely. Yes. And so that takes so much of the idokinesis, that muscle memory, that neuromuscular patterns were just like a little bit of movement, and they know what movement to counter with as a result of just the small movement. So Yeah, we already did our restudying on that one. So now we're good to go. And that's how you need to attack this. Go through the standards. Where did I go? Where am I
To
standing?
refresh everything.
Right. All the
Yeah.
juice is flowing.
Yes.
Yeah. And so how we might explain and utilize that in our lessons. Obviously safety's tantamount, safety movement, having them be mindful of their space. And that's something that in kindergarten for PE, it's one of the most important TEKs, is like getting them to be aware of your own body and your space.
Yes.
And it's so important because as we go, we have them do all signs. We can't have them be like, jumping jacking into somebody's eye next to them when to keep their space. Same, obviously, with dance.
Yes.
Appropriate clothing, appropriate footwear, different types of dance. I had the pleasure of being the supervisor for an intern here in San Antonio. Was it last year? It was either last year. No, it was last year. And she was from the Valley and is a dance teacher, and she started a folklorico class, and oh my God, I went to their performance. It was awesome. I mean, it was so cool. And even the kids that weren't in it, you could see, because it was the first year that they had it.
Right.
Like they were like, where do we sign up for next year? Like we
want
to see it. It was really cool. It was so cool. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Definitely. It was a nice and needed addition to, to the campus, to the school. Okay. So here is creating, performing, and producing dance. That's what this standard is mostly about. Your ability to do the thing and produce it, right? Compositional elements, and all of that. Like I'm sure all of that. Space, performance space, props, and things that we were talking about, just like how you would utilize this and how you have to teach these elements, right? You don't, not all of them obviously, but you have to teach them so that they can perform, effectively or to where you want them to.
Yes, that's correct.
Appropriate behavior protocol at dance events, and that's why the event that I went, it was just during lunch for the lunch students, but they walked in so professional, what I mean? All of their little peers are whooping and hollering, went in, and they weren't even part of a dance team. They were part of a dance class, but she taught them that. She's like, okay, when we leave the dance room, like I need everybody to be with it was just beautiful. And they just did such an amazing job. Critical thinking, collaboration, getting them to try to utilize critical thinking in the types of activities that you guys do together. Okay, so standard 4 is about the different cultures, historical periods. And if you want to look at the ones that they're going to like, might quiz you on the exam, go to the TEKS to refer to that, because they will list like specific time periods that the students have to learn about, specific historical things. And those are the ones, although there are more, certainly for you to talk about and that you can talk about in your classes, the ones that the students are required to know in the class, that means you have to know it for the test, like just that, those things. Particular time periods, contemporary, modern, classical, all that good stuff. I loved it, but I only took dance when I was younger, but we did tap, we did jazz and ballet. So it was really fun.
Nice. Nice.
Okay, the dance teacher understands and applies knowledge of skills for critically analyzing and evaluating dance. So this is about your assessment, right? Analyzing and evaluating their dance, not just for the sake of evaluating something as good or bad, but for the purposes of incrementally increasing their effectiveness in dance, right? Yeah, we want them to progress. So feedback is so incredibly important for dance, right? The corrective feedback that it's not overtly negative, but also that the positive feedback is not unspecific, right? So if somebody does like a pirouette turn or something and it's beautiful and you're like, oh my goodness, that was beautiful, be mindful and specific in your feedback, because the feedback is yes just for the student, but all the students that are there watching what she did beautifully, what was it that she did that was beautiful? It was that pirouette that you did beautiful, right? And so everybody knows language to action, and then the student has a better idea of what I am doing right and what I'm doing wrong, right? And if you're specific with your feedback, whether it's positive or negative. Evaluate solutions to a given problem. And so always come to something with like a solutions-based attitude, right? For a given movement or even like a performance issue. Again, going back to assisting students in developing skills for evaluating. Our goal, all of us as teachers, EC through 12, is to get the students to be able to learn on their own. The ending of learning does not end when they graduate high school. It ends with us in a formal education. Yes. But whether or not they go to college, whether or not they start a trade, whether or not they do, we need them to be able to still learn. If they get a new job, as an assistant at a dance company, we need them to learn the things that they need to learn and to be able to know, what do I need to know better in order to do this job properly? And so all of it is in pursuit of getting them to be agents in their own life. And so all the while we're having them reflect how they're doing, their judgments, their movements, all of it, just assessing their performance overall, my effort, my dedication, my technique, my cooperation with like everybody else in the performance, you know what I'm saying? Like looking at all of it and reflecting. Yeah. Promote students' development of skills, observation, reflection through historical, critical, reflective, kinesthetic, collaborative, and imaginative analysis of dances and dance experiences. I wish I could take an adult dance class. I'm sure they have some, right?
Oh, yes, definitely.
You know what I would like? Because my daughter took, my youngest took tap with school this last year. But I told her, because she knows I did it as a child, I said, I want to take tap with you. And she's like, let's do a class. I said, I don't think that there's a mom-daughter class, but I wish there was. It would be so fun. And I would join with my girls.
Yes, you should go just ask in a studio, I'm sure.
I should, right? I should. I think I will. So this last standard, I believe it's the last one. Yes, is about pedagogy. It's about your effective understanding and application of instruction and assessment, how you plan your instruction. And we plan for the people we have based on their needs, based on their skill level. You would never bring in like ballet the toe ballet stuff and be like, we're gonna do toe today, and the kids don't even know what a pirouette turn or any of the things. Like, we wouldn't do that. Their skill level is going to be really below, and we're going to have some injured people, right?
Yes.
So knowing what, who you have, what their skill level is, what all of that, and creating and organizing a sequence of lessons which are safe and effective and engaging, but that can help promote their gradual sort of increase of knowledge and skill in dance. And so you see the first one is your TEXES. The TEXES are explicitly written, and this is like a document that we are bound by law to do all of we must know all of this, and we must do all of this in order to be teachers. And so it says everything that's in the TEXES regarding dance is up for grabs on the exam. We have to know it. We have to understand students' intellectual, social, emotional, physical development, and their significance for dance education. And there's a difference, like in the groups, for instance, my daughter's age, right? Kindergartners, intellectually, socially, emotionally, physically are a little less able to do some rigorous dance routines, right? Or complicated stuff. So based on where they are physically in their growth timeline, and providing them with appropriate activities based on what they need. safe and appropriate progression for teaching dance techniques. Like I said, you wouldn't go and start with the toe exercises at all, and or have them try to do things,
And point.
anything
Yes.
like that. Let's see. So effective use of current instructional technologies in dance settings, like technology is really great when and you would want to do, even if it's a dance class, like 5 to 10 minutes of like direct instruction. This is, think of it as like a trailer to a movie. This is what we're going to be doing today. And these are the words that we're going to learn. And this is like a little bit like, look at this ballet company doing it, or this jazz company doing it, or this folkloric or whatever, and getting them, priming the cognitive pump, getting them ready and engaged for the dance activities. Yeah. And that's about it. So I'm going to send you this, and you continue to look at the TEKS, and then I think you'll do fine this next time.
Thank you.
I think it's a matter of like, and before you take it, I'm gonna tell them to open it up for you. And once you have your date, let me know. Or do you have your date already or no?
No, not yet. I wanted to go through this first, and then
we can also go through some practice questions next time. Like after you do your deep dive in this, we'll look at their manual and we'll go through some practice questions, and so that I can show you some of the strategies, because this exam, although it's just measuring your knowledge of dance, it's really not. It's also a critical reading exam, which means that you have to carefully read, because one answer terrible.
Find out.
Yeah, more than one answer might be something appropriate, but one is most appropriate based on the stuff that they tell you in the scenario and in the question. So after you've done a deep dive of these, we'll get together and do some practicing with that.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. And you just rest, and thank you for your service as a teacher. Teachers are amazing. They're the real MVP. I don't care what anyone says. And no, I'm serious. I always thank teachers for their service, because I think that the teaching profession is literally the most important profession that we have. Like, it's from all other professions, our profession, So anyway, thank you for that. And just sign up next time and we'll go over those questions.
I appreciate it, Ms. Sauceda. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.